This is Mike Sykes, and I'm on the spot. I'm Mike Sykes. I am a writer for the Win, USA Today's For the Win, and I have my own newsletter called The Kicks You Wear, where I write about sneakers. Um, Honestly, for me, it started with sports because when I was younger, I had the dream, I had the hoop dreams like everybody else. It was like, yo, I'm gonna go to the league one day, bro. You were never going to the league. You were never going to the league, my boy. And so, like, one day, my mom sat me down. I don't remember what we was doing, but I was talking. I was like, Mom, like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. She's like, you wanted to play ball. Clearly, that's not a thing for you. But if you want to be around the game, you could always cover it. You could always be like, at the time, I was idolizing Stephen A. Smith, Jamel Hill, Michael Smith. Like, she was like, yo, like, you could be that. You're really good at that. You're really good at writing. And I guess I was 15 at the time. And, from there, I was like, you know what? Like, that sparked it for me. And from there, I just decided, like, this is the career path that I wanted to take. Entry point was, I was working, where did I start? I started actually at the PG Sentinel. But even before that, though, I would say that I was still kind of in the business because I was doing everything, man. I started my own blog back after I graduated high school called What's Left on the Floor. I don't know if that joint still exists or not, but I was just writing about hoops, writing about ball, writing about football, covering high school football games, things of that nature. Then I went to Hardwood Houdini and was the editor over there. That's the fan side of Celtics blog, which was cool. But like, that wasn't really professional experience for me. Like, I wanted to get out there, get into the field more. And so I got a job with the Prince George's Sentinel after I graduated from Bowie State in 2014. And from there, I was covering politics, doing cops and courts, traffic. Whenever there was snowstorm, I had to do weather sometimes. It was just crazy. Like, I was doing everything, but my favorite thing to do was the sports, man. Covering high school football, high school basketball out here in the DMV, man. It's honestly quite literally the best professional experience of my life, man. There's nothing better. I really miss it. My big break, I would say when I got an internship with SB Nation in 2017, RIP SB Nation. I mean, it still exists, but like, it don't really exist no more. That was the start of me kind of moving on a national scale digitally. I'm not the biggest personality out there, but I think that the things that I've learned, especially from that experience right there, have carried me professionally to get to this point to where I'm, working for USA Today. I have a sneaker unboxing show on YouTube. I can launch my own newsletter. I can cover a number of different things and talk about a number of different things and write about a number of different things in a smart way because of that experience right there and the people who kind of molded me and pushed me forward from that point on. So I'm just forever grateful to that place and to those people for getting me where I am today. Um, it's weird sometimes. Like, it's cool. I enjoy my job. I enjoy the people that I work with, but there are times where, like, it can be a little restrictive in terms of not the things that you cover, but the things that you can do. And it's not like, my higher ups are, they don't really block me from doing much of anything, which I'm eternally grateful for. But then, like, they're the bosses of the bosses of the bosses that, like, at times can just hold up your progress a little bit. And so, like, you get frustrated with the timeline with that kind of stuff sometimes. But other than that, I just think it's a really good experience. I've had a good time. Like I said, I enjoy my coworkers. Honestly, I don't know anywhere else that would have let me unbox sneakers for a living, which is pretty cool. Um, but it's good. I would say it's good. Man, I've always had it, honestly. Even now, I'm thinking back. I'm trying to pinpoint like one specific story, and there are always two that come to mind, but there are so many. The first one is I remember um, when I was in, I think it was kindergarten or first grade, which is completely ridiculous. I don't know why I remember this, but I was so excited when my mom bought me a pair of New Balances. I think they might have been. I don't know if it was 574. I have no idea what it was. It might have been a 990 of some sort. But like I just remember the smile on my face when I got those joints. I was like, it was just cool. It was just cool to me. It matched my little outfit. My parents used to like to dress me up a little bit, which I'm grateful for because that's how I got to this point that I'm at. So. But then, like the one that really kind of molded me and turned me into the sneakerhead that I am, for better or for worse, according to my wallet, was the 2007 Aqua 8s. Man, I was 15 years old. That was a shoe that I wanted badly. So I cut every lawn that I could. I picked up sticks in the yard. I cleaned the house top to bottom. I took out the trash before my parents would ask me to take out the trash. I did whatever I could just to scrape up my little change, you know what I'm saying? And cop those shoes. But I think the retail was like, I think it was like 150 back then, which is absurd for a Jordan right now. But, I got them. That was the first shoe that I bought with my own money. I was so incredibly proud of that. Like that was just, I don't know, that was a real cool moment for me. And from that point on, I've loved this stuff. I've loved this stuff. I haven't been able to get every pair that I've always wanted, from that point on, obviously, because I ain't have a real job. But, now, I mean, I buy them when I see them. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So my man Evan, who is my producer, the main producer on Special Delivery. When I started at USA Today, he's also a sneakerhead, and he saw that I was a sneakerhead too. And so, like, often, we would have all these conversations. And when I started, it was 2019. That's important to the story. So I started in 2019. We have all these talks about sneakers all the time, and just like our upbringings and how sneakers have impacted us and all this and that. And then the pandemic hits, right? Everything shuts down. Nobody really knows what to do because like ain't nobody buying ads for content and everything like that. So it's like we gotta figure out something to do. No sports being played, like everything's shut down. So everybody starts doing all this video, and so like I'm doing videos, occasional videos here and there. Like I'm shooting the dirty clothes into the clothes basket. Whatever the Trae Young challenge was back then, doing all that. But we were talking, and we were like, yo, like we should really do something with sneakers. Like this should be your thing. He's like, this should be your thing, Sykes. So I'm like, yeah, but like I don't know what to do. And one thing about Ev, man, like that dude comes up with ideas just like that. And so Kobe passed, obviously, before the pandemic started, R.I.P. Bean. And we were like, okay, this is a tough moment for everybody. But if you remember, like everybody was trying to buy the Kobe sneakers. And one of the things that they had done was do this whole Mamba Week thing where like there was like a week where I think it was in August sometime. Because Kobe's birthday is in August, I want to say. And so like they had the week set up for his birthday, and they were dropping a pair of Kobe's each day that week. So it was supposed to be this opportunity for everybody to buy Kobe sneakers, but guess what? Didn't work out. Nobody got Kobe sneakers. Like it was a terrible week. And so we did a video on it. I talked about how the release was supposed to work, what went wrong, what I thought Nike could have done better. And that video went crazy on Twitter. Like Chrissy Teigen retweeted it. It popped off. I think it ended up having like 1.3 million views or something like that. Like it just went crazy. And like no video that we've done has done as well since. But from that point on, like that was the proof of concept for everybody else to see that, like, yo, sneakers can work. Like, this is something that can be a thing. Even here at USA Today, where, you know, we're not necessarily like the place that people go to for sneakers, but it ended up working. The bosses believed in it, and they were like, yo, y'all should turn this into something. And so we decided to do special delivery. And we launched it, I want to say in January of 2021 is when we launched it. And from there, we just been grinding. So it's been cool. It's been cool. Top five, I would say for me, definitely the Joe Fresh Goods 993. That's probably, this is tough. I don't know if that's my favorite Joe Fresh Goods joint, but I do think that's my favorite episode, just because of the whole performance art concept and you know what it means to. Matter of fact, the joints are right there. Actually, just what it means to like perform, you know, and be at your best when you do it. Like, I really love that story. The social status free lunch dunks. Like, I just thought that was such an important story to share with people. The very first episode that we did, which was the ISPA Road Warrior, to this day, there's not a shoe in my collection that is wilder than that one. Like, it just looks like a ninja shoe or something like that. Like, it's crazy. What else? I would say probably the Lost and Found Jordan 1. That was definitely one of my faves. Just because the fact that we got a Chicago 1 on set, that's something I never thought would even be a thing. I never thought that they would be releasing that shoe again. So here Nike is proving me wrong. And then dang, this is a tough one because this is the last one. I'm gonna say the Joe Fresh Goods 9060, man. I'm a big fan of Joe Fresh Goods. And I just feel like the whole outside clothes to inside voices thing, I thought that was a cool story. But beyond that, I think the 9060, the New Balance 9060 as a silhouette is probably the best thing that sneaker culture has right now, because it's a new silhouette and something that we haven't really seen before, and there are a lot of colors to it. I just think it's refreshing to see, especially in the time where like everybody's still doing retro. So I would say yeah, that's probably number 5 for me. The kicks you wear was something that I started after I left Axios. And Axios is this company, it was the startup. I think it's probably a little bit bigger than the startup now. Where, you know, they were covering politics and everything. And when they hired me, I was doing politics, but then they decided to go into sports, and they hired this dude named Kendall Baker. We launched the sports newsletter together. And then I decided that it was time for me to go. And then after that, I was like, you know, I've learned all of these different skills from this place, like how to write a newsletter, you know, what it's like to organize a community and things like that. And I wanted to keep those skills fresh, because I feel like, especially in today's media landscape, that is a very valuable thing. And so I decided I wanted to launch my own thing, and that thing was the kicks you wear. And Substack happened to be a newsletter platform that had just launched, and I saw one of the homies from SB Nation, Matt Brown, shout out to him. He had launched his own newsletter called Extra Points on Substack, and so I was like, okay, like this seems like a good platform for me to go to. And so I did that, launched the kicks you wear. And you know, I wanted to create a space where I saw the sneaker coverage that I wanted, you know, not necessarily the hype beastie coverage that you see in some places. I didn't want it just to be like, this shoe is releasing this week, here's how you get it. Like, I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it to be about the industry, you know, the business side of it, the fun parts of it, the not so fun parts of it, the frustration in the community at times with some of these sneakers. And I also wanted to, you know, help people appreciate the sneakers that they have a little bit more, because I feel like one of the things that, for me coming up, was the thing. It was just like, you know, I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get every shoe, but the ones that I had, I really, really loved. Like, I wore those joints. I really wore those joints. And that is why I love sneakers the way that I do now. And I just feel like, you know, everybody feels like they need to own every single shoe that comes out every weekend. And you really don't. You just need to appreciate the joints that you have, because you probably got some heat. And so I just wanted to emphasize that for people more than anything else. You know, and so I launched the platform. Now we're just under 4,000 subscribers now, which is pretty cool. Like, I thought that was gonna be a joint that like 30 people read. So like, you know, anything over that was always gonna be a dub for me. And so here we are, man. It's been a pretty cool journey. Because I just think it allows people to make smarter decisions with their money about what they're about to purchase and what they're looking at. You know, I think it's worthwhile to know, for example, where your sneakers come from. You know, what the company that produces your sneakers is doing, and what type of business they're in. You know, whether the company, you know, supports Black and brown people, or whether the company, you know, they have a checkered past in certain situations. So what, you know, what's coming from the company as well. Like, are they forward thinking, or are they giving you, you know, the same sneakers over and over and over again? Like, what's the quality of the material? Like, things of that nature, you know, just to be a little bit more thoughtful and critical of the companies, just so that we know like what our money is going into, you know. Because my thing is like the sneaker industry, I think it's unique because the consumer is the one who is supposed to determine, you know, where this thing goes. Like, the company Nike shouldn't be able to produce a shoe and tell us like this sneaker is cool. Like, that's what we determine, because we wear it at the end of the day. And you know, if everybody's following and everybody is trying to wear the same thing, then, you know, I don't think it really advances at all. And so I just wanted to create a platform where people were able to read with me and think with me and be a little more intentional about how we consume not only sneakers, but just this hype culture in general, because it can be really dangerous, especially when it comes to like addiction and spending your money, you know, at times when, you know, maybe you probably don't really need to. So the most annoying it's a lot of them. That's why I had to pause to think right there. There's so many. The worst part about sneaker culture in general for me is the sort of entitlement that some people get when it comes to sneakers. Like, as y'all can see, like, I'm a person who is really big on appreciating the things that you have, as opposed to the things that, you know, you want, or the things that you yearn for. But I think that there's a lot of folks in the sneaker community who, you know, when Nike is dropping such and such dunk, or X Jordan 1 or Y Air Max 1, it's like, man, the sneakers app didn't give me these joints. I took another L. What is this? And it's like, bro, like, come on, man. Like, you probably didn't really need these, if we being honest. You won't hear every weekend complaining about losing the same sneaker, and it's like, it's just unnecessary. It's just tiring, and it also creates a feeling of not necessarily jealousy within like other sneakerheads, but I just think it puts people off a little bit, and I don't think it's the best way to shine a light on the community. And then at the same time, from a brand standpoint, I think that the whole the whole artificial scarcity thing is kind of whack, man. Like, when you only making certain pairs of shoes available for limited runs, even though, like, the Panda Dunk, for example, like, why do these joints keep selling out? That doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, this dunk is just a black and white dunk. It's cool. I like the dunk. It's my favorite silhouette. But at the same time, this shoe probably isn't one that should be treated like some sort of Air Jordan. Like that's just my take on it. And I just feel like the brands could treat the consumers a little bit better too, as far as these releases go. But I really think that like the sense of entitlement that some people have with this stuff, it's just it can be insufferable sometimes. And my thing is like you want to pull more people into the community, and you can't do it by behaving that way. So I just wish that people would chill out a little bit with that. Top five of 2022 is tough for me. I would say the Air Max one, the Concepts Air Max one that came in the what is it? I don't even remember the name of the pack, but like the heavy, the mellow, and the far out. It's like this trippy Air Max ones. It's really cool. I've never seen Air Max 1s like that, and that's the best shoe of 2022 to me. Like, I think that, like, those joints, as far as, like, the creativity of them goes, I think it's really cool. Joe Freshgoods 9060 is definitely my number 2. If the release wasn't so bad, it would be number 1, but it was terrible. Again, the 9060 is a creative silhouette with some creative colors on it, so I gotta give it credit for that. That Lost and Found Jordan 1, I never thought I would own a Chicago 1. Very grateful that I have those joints now. I would say, this is going to be weird, the Asics Gel 1130 that I have in just a literal plain black and gold color. Like, might be the most plain shoe that I have, but it's one of the most comfortable also. And it looks really good, man. Like, it just looks good. It's not a special shoe at all. It cost me like $80 or something like that. But for me, those are some of the best sneakers that I have. It's not like necessarily all the hype joints that you know will that's not always gonna do it for me. And then finally, I would say it's probably a tie for me between the Nike SB Ishod Wear sneaker, and for those of y'all who don't know, Ishod, he's a pro skater on Nike's roster. And this was like his signature shoe, his signature SB shoe. I think it's fire. It looks like a mix between like a Dunk and a Jordan 5, which is crazy. And then I would say the Crush DC Nike SB Dunk, which like Crush having a Dunk, man, that's cool. It's like it pays homage to the skate shop in DC and Freedom Plaza, which is where they skate all the time. Like, I just think that's sick, man. Like, just to see that on the shoe is really cool. So yeah, I would say that that's my top 5. It'll probably change next week though. Honestly, I don't really have that many. I would say everybody's looking forward to this whole Year the Rabbit, Air Jordan 1 Low. Those joints are fire. It's only 5,000 pairs though, so I'm probably not getting them, and you probably not either. The remastered or reimagined Air Jordan 3, the Cement 3s, like the fact that that's coming out again, like, yeah, I gotta get that. That's one of those ones where I'm like, yeah, I need those in my life. Outside of that, that's really it so far. I mean, I'm always looking forward to the next Joe Freshgoods release. I'm really a big fan of him. He actually just dropped these Vans that like tell the story about how black folks had to travel from the South using the Green Book, which like that's some tight storytelling to tell with a brand like Vans. Like, that's crazy. The fact that like you're putting this on Vans product is like, if you would ask me if somebody could do that 5 years ago, I would have told you, nah, that's crazy. And here he is doing it. And then you know, New Balance is always coming out with good stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of in just like wait and see mode with 2023 mostly. But I do know that Jordan 3, I need that joint. I need that joint in my life. The wildest thing that I ever done. Honestly, I don't really had no crazy stories. There is a story about when I went. This is when I first discovered that like sneaker raffles were a thing. I went up to I think it was Annapolis Mall at the time. No idea why I was up there, but they were about to drop some phones. I think it was the Coppers, and I went to the DTLR like thinking that like I would just be able to walk in and cop them. I think this was around like 2012 or so, might have been 2013. And so I walk in, and the shorty at the desk is like, "Yeah, you can buy a raffle ticket, or I can give you a raffle ticket, and you'll be entered to get them." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay, sweet. Like, I get this ticket, and I'll be able to get the shoes." She's like, "No, like it doesn't work that way. It's not like that." She's like, "Yeah, you'll get the ticket. I'll give you the ticket, but the ticket has to hit, and then you can purchase the shoe." So I'm like, so I got to enter a raffle to actually buy this shoe? That's crazy. Like, that was wild. I just remember being so like in awe that day of like what that was one of the times where like I was just like, what is sneakers turning into right now? It was just a wild moment. And then recently, actually, goes back to Joe Fresh Goods. He dropped the New Balance 990 V3 in the Outside Voices colorway. Came to DC to drop that joint, or to drop a run of those joints because he had already dropped it at that point. But he goes to somewhere, which is this shop down in Navy Yard. And so I pull up. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm working at the time, and I don't tell nobody at work that I'm skating off, but I do it anyway. I pull up the Navy Yard. It's like a good 20-minute drive. I'm like, I can do this. You pull up real quick. So I pull up. I see the line. I'm like, all right, cool. It's not that crazy. It's almost down in that stadium, but it's also moving kind of fast. So I'm like, all right, I'ma still stay here. So I'm standing for like a good hour, making friends with the people in line or whatever. And then I get to, it's maybe two people in front of me in the window to cop the shoes. And they like, yo, we sold out. We sold out. I'm like, what? Y'all what? He's like, we sold out. I'm like, y'all don't have no extra pairs. He's like, no, that's it. We sold out. Everybody from this point on, and it's literally the guy in front of me, this point on, y'all gotta go. I'm like, dog, you gotta be kidding me. I done stood in line for an hour at this point to get these joints, and I didn't get them. But, it was still a good experience. It was fun. This actually reminded me of another story. It's probably the dumber story, and I'll make this one quicker because I don't want to embarrass myself. But this past summer, I wanted to get my wife something for her birthday, and this Leahy Crocs was dropping. They were dropping that somewhere. This time up in was it the Navy Yard shop? It might have been the Navy Yard shop. Whatever. No, it was a Union Market shop. So I go to the Union Market joint, right? And we standing outside. It's like 8 in the morning. I'm not a morning person. It's me and my other producer, Janelle. We just chilling, standing there, recording content while in line. And we stood there for a good 5.5 hours for 2 pairs of Crocs. We got the Crocs, but I still to this day ask myself, was it worth it? Was it worth it? I don't know. I still can't tell. It rained on us. It was bad. It was bad. Man, that was a adventure. That's the first time I'd ever like gone rogue with a pair of sneakers. Honestly, it was like, I really liked the Paisley Dunks. That was one of the shoes that I was like, this is one of the ones I gotta get, because it felt like a old SB to me. It was like the SBs from like 2002 on. Like I love that period from like 02 to 08, where like you just get all these wild pairs of SBs, the Hawaiis, the Freddy Kruegers that never really dropped, the eBay Dunks, Day of the Dead joints, like Ray Guns, just all those joints that like they had all these weird inspirations behind them. The Paisleys felt a little bit like that to me. It wasn't necessarily like that, but they looked like my grandma's couch. So I was like, this is dope. Like, let me get this joint. So I get it. I'm looking at them. I'm talking to my producers. I'm like, these joints are fire. They like, you should bleach them. I'm like, why would I do that? Like, why would I do that? They were like, for the content. I'm like, I don't know if content is worth that. So we wait like a month. And I still ain't worn the joints. Cause I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, why would I bleach these? Like, this is crazy. They were like, you still ain't worn them. Just bleach them. And I was like, nah. And then my producer was like, I'm gonna just buy a pair and do it myself. And I'm like, all right, like if you're gonna do all that, like I don't want you to spend this money. Like I will just do it and I think they'll come out fire. I saw somebody do it on Instagram and his came out fire. So I was like, all right, let's see. So I sync up with the bleach, put the water in there. I still don't really know how I did it or what like directions I followed, but I had to hold them joints down. It was like a 30-minute process. And I'm just like the whole time, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I'll probably just ruin this pair of shoes. And I didn't. They came out fine. It's like it's almost like a cherry red color now, which like, I think it looks great. Like it looks better than the original color did. So I'm happy that I did it. But I will say they did shrink a little bit. So they're not the most comfortable shoes now, but I still be wearing them though. The biggest moment I would say for me was when I was at Axios. I had done this feature with a colleague of mine named Steph Kite. We wrote, there was like in the summertime, I think summer of 2018, there was like a rash of like shootings in Chicago. And so all of these people were talking about like, oh, you know, what do we do with Chicago? Like, y'all know how they get, man. It's like, bro, like, what do you do with Chicago? Like you provide those people with things that will help them not be violent. Like it's like you gotta provide people with subsidies. You gotta provide people with help. You gotta provide people with access to the same things that you know me and you have, so that like they can live good lives too, and not feel the need to you know be outside doing wild things. But like it was like nobody was having that conversation really. It was just, you know, this gun violence is out of control. We need to get, I think somebody was like, we need to send the National Guard out there, all this and that. And I'm like, that's not the move, because you endangering people's lives just by doing that too. So like, what it is we gotta, like I said, get these resources together, get these people like what it is that they need. And so I wrote about that along with Steph, and you know, it was just like one of the things that kind of bothered me about like the national perspective on you know, it ended up turning into like the whole black on black crime thing, which is like ridiculous. It's just utterly ridiculous. And so like I just wrote about like dispelling that, and you know, wrote about the core issues that people were facing there. I called people out there, community leaders out there, talked to them, and we just wrote a story on it. It was like kind of a deep dive story, and it was really cool. And so somebody from CBS hit me up, and they were like, yo, we really dig this story. We would love for you to come and talk about it on the nightly news. And I was like, yo, what? Like, that's crazy. Like, this is what I grew up watching, and y'all want me to pop on and talk about it. And so that's what I did, man. And, you know, it was just cool having all of my family, like, looking, because they were streaming it. They were watching it, and everybody's hit me. My phone's blowing up like, yo, I see you on TV right now. This is crazy. And I can just feel it in my pocket as I'm talking. So I'm like stupid nervous, like while I'm doing the hit. It's just like, it's just really, really cool. And, you know, the coolest thing though was, you know, one of my best friends, who passed away, not too long after this, actually. He actually came and talked to me about it. Like he just like genuinely pulled me to the side and told me like, yo, I'm so proud of you, man, and what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you've been able to do, and to see you on that TV was like, it was really cool. It was vindicated for him, and just to know that like I was able to do that, and we were able to have that talk. Like that's a moment I will never forget. Like professionally, I will always be so thankful for that moment, just because of the things that it brought me in my personal life, as far as like pushing people, motivating people, showing my little cousins that like like there are other things that we can do outside of like just hooping and rapping, which is like the cliche, but like you sometimes need to see that, so I just that was such a cool moment for me. Man, I don't know, man. Like everybody asks, like, do you want to keep doing media, or would you go into like the sneaker industry in some capacity, or like, do you want to like keep doing the newsletter and everything? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. Like unboxing sneakers is cool, writing the newsletter is cool. Whatever opportunities arise, in between now and 5 years to 10 years from now, like we'll see. But I just really enjoy what I'm doing right now. So I think, I'm gonna just keep at it, see where it goes, see where it takes me, see if I can continue to like create this sports sneaker fashion business fusion that I'm trying to create, and see where I can take that. But man, I just want to keep doing it, travel a little bit more, maybe try and get to the All-Star game or something this year. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna just keep going at it.